We're going to send you a trainee who is passionate about your industry, who is going to be there early. They have a really good focus, attention to detail, and they're also going to have a job coach. And that job coach will be there to support them if anything is needed.
G'day, I'm Debra Caldow. Welcome to the Red Giraffe Solutions Expanding Worlds podcast, where we aim to support you as you help your young person with additional needs plan for their future, a future where they're safe, secure, and live a rewarding and fulfilling life. From around the world, I share stories and I share solutions from people making this possible right now. I'm a parent of a young person with additional needs, so I understand the challenges. Many of the people I've interviewed on this podcast have already helped me design a better future for my daughter, and I hope that they might help you as well to imagine what's possible for your young person. This podcast is made possible by Red Giraffe Solutions, which is a project I'm proud to be part of, supporting families to build a better future for their children. We now have available at Red Giraffe Solutions an online course called Independent Cooking Made Easy. This is a new and unique approach we developed when we realised traditional cooking techniques and recipes were never going to enable our daughter to cook without some support or supervision. It's a safe, simple system that uses no more than 5 ingredients, has no weighing, cutting or chopping, and no lifting of heavy dishes. Each of the 16 recipes in the course includes a step-by-step video of our daughter making the meal, plus a visual recipe card. We developed this for our daughter to solve her challenges with cooking, and every recipe in the course she can and does genuinely cook for herself. You can find a link to the course in this episode's show notes. It's stating the obvious to say that in order for more of our young people to get into paid work, we need more employers willing to offer paid work. And while there's barriers in place, there are also plenty of organisations now doing the work that will ensure that more job opportunities become available. My guest in this episode is Katie Shephard from the SAM Project, and we're talking about this topic of engaging employers and getting them to understand the value of our young people. Katie talks not only about what they do at the SAM Project, but also about wider issues around employers and the fears that exist, and how to address both the fears and misconceptions that employers often have. So enough from me, let's hear more about this from Katie. Thank you so much for talking to me today. Can we start by you telling me a little bit about you and then about your role here as well?
Yeah, my name's Katie. I'm the work engagement lead at SAND, and my role here is to embrace the brilliance we have in SAND and our trainees, and I guess wake up the world of businesses to realise the potential that we have here with trainees, and that our trainees can really fit into the big wide world of working and actually bring so much loyalty and talent to their businesses. I suppose my role is going out to different businesses and recognising the skills that our trainees have and then matching that up to businesses that are local and just nagging businesses basically to work with us.
Where do you start? What do you look for in a business if you're just sitting there thinking, I need another business? What are you looking at?
So it tends to come from the trainee, so it's generally conversational from the trainee, looking at what pathways they're on, hearing conversations about where they've excelled, conversations they might have had at home with their families, and then networking. We go to business meetings. I do a lot of networking with friends or families that know someone or someone who runs a business. That seems to work very well. We work really well with independent businesses. It's done in different ways. So sometimes it could be an email, sometimes it could be a phone call, sometimes it's in person, and just having that connection. We have a prospectus that we send out to people. It's quite a quirky prospectus, so I hope it catches their eye when they read it, and it's reassuring the businesses actually when they do work with us, it's really easy. I used to work at Waitrose and do work experience, so I've been on the other side, where you have year 10 students rocking up and I don't really want to be there. It's painful, if I'm really honest. And I really like to go from that angle because I think it reassures the business that actually what we're going to do is very different. We're going to send you a trainee who is passionate about your industry, who has a skill set for your industry, who is going to be there early because their time management is incredible. They have a really good focus, attention to detail, and they're also going to have a job coach. and that job coach will be there to support them if anything is needed. If they're having a bit of a wobbly morning, the job coach is there, which then enables the business to be able to carry on with their duties. The hardest part is getting me through the door to be able to sit down and chat to somebody. The best outcome is when I can invite people down to our college and give them a tour of our wonderful college and kind of open their eyes as to what we do and how unique we are. And that's kind of when we have the best successes.
Is there a difference between engaging, you said independent businesses, is there a difference between engaging them and engaging, let's say, the larger organisations? How does that vary?
Yeah, it's a huge challenge for us. So if we go to a small independent business and they don't have a big HR department breathing down their neck, then generally they say yes and they can work with us and there's no red tape. If I go to a big business, generally you get a pushback of you need to contact our HR department, they deal with our work experience, and you send an email. It's a bit like cold calling and it just gets lost. The big businesses would be great for us to have on board because obviously they've got more potential to be able to employ. They've got more departments. Our independents are our biggest supporters because they don't have that red tape and they don't have different departments and different levels, so we don't get fobbed off.
Should it not be the opposite? If you've got a HR department, they would be the ones... Is it reaching the HR department that's the issue?
I think because the trouble is when you go to an HR department, unless you've got somebody who appreciates the world of SEN or has a personal experience in that world, I don't think they get it, and they do have this image of, like I say, a year 10 student turning up not wanting to be there, and I think they think paperwork, they think risk assessments, they just think hassle, and actually we take away all of that. So we do our own risk assessment, we have a job coach that's there to guide them and be there when it's needed, and we make sure that we've got the right fit, and that's what we spend a lot of our time doing, is making sure that if a trainee has got anxiety about turning up, we've put things in place for that trainee to make sure it's a really smooth transition, and we'll work with the business.
So apart from thinking that they're going to get a bunch of students on work experience, what other misconceptions do employers have? And I'm not talking about the size of the employer, but just in general.
Yeah, I think, again, one of our biggest battles is if you say, I'm going to send somebody to you that's autistic, they go to a place of they're not going to sit still, they're not going to be able to do it, they're not going to listen to what I'm saying. And unfortunately, people still have an image in their head of what somebody who has autism will be like. And I do get that to an extent, because I think actually until I entered this world, my son is also autistic, and I think you don't really appreciate it until you've lived it and breathed it yourself. That's where the education comes in.
Is there an element there that we keep coming back to this thing about visibility?
Yes.
Is that then helping break down the barrier that one person in an organisation can be the catalyst for many other people to go into the organisation, regardless of needs, but actually just showing that someone with an additional need is a good employee?
100%. I am yet to have a new business that's taken us on board and had a trainee that's turned up that you almost see them take like a sigh of relief when that person walks through the door, because they realise how easy it is. They learn, and their staff also learn, but that's the one thing we do get, is actually they're educated, but also so are their staff. And I think it just takes away that scary thought of what someone with a learning disability would need, and actually they realise that it's absolutely fine, and actually we're really gaining someone very valuable, because the trainees that we have, because it's a working college, they want to work, and then when you put them in that environment, they're comfortable, so actually you generally see them excel, and it's amazing. It's the best part of the job.
Is that another misconception then, the idea of reasonable adjustments that we talk about?
Yeah, 100%. Reasonable adjustments, I think people think cost money, and it doesn't. Again, because that's where we come from. A reasonable adjustment can just be if they are, triggered by a fire alarm, for example. If something like that unsettles them, the simplest thing is they go around the block if they're in an industrial estate. So our job coach will say, let's go and take a little walk, change of scenery, and that's probably the easiest fix. Or it's, this trainee doesn't like fire alarms going off, can you just make us aware when that's going to happen? Something really simple. It doesn't cost anything. There's no equipment to pay out for. There's something called access to work, obviously, which we educate them about as well, which if they were going to employ them, we can use access to work. But yeah, I think it's money and paperwork is the key things that people see as a negative, and we take both of those things away when they work with us.
What about the fear of getting it wrong? Do employers have that as well?
Yeah, I guess that's only human, isn't it? And we have that. And don't get me wrong, we still make mistakes. We absolutely do. And the beauty of us is we're able to admit if we make a mistake, but that's a learning curve. And there will be conversations I have with a trainee and I might not have picked a sensible time because I don't know what's going on. But you learn by that and you treat them as adults and you talk through that and then they appreciate where you're coming from and vice versa. So yeah, I think fear is only being human. And I think if we can show them how easy it is, I keep using the word easy, but I think it is, it's just very natural. I think I always say to them, treat them like adults, they are adults. Treat them as you would anybody else and just use the job coach to guide you where it's needed. And they've always got a job coach there, they've always got me at the end of the phone, or I can pop in and visit. We can send them educational links if they need it. Generally 9 times out of 10 they walk in, it's just all very natural and common sense. A lot of it's just common sense, really.
Do you think that having a young person with additional needs in an organisation can also have a really positive impact on a workplace culture, on the other employees?
Yeah, because I think it's that educational piece, isn't it? I think we're always scared of the unknown, and if we have that introduced to us and it becomes more of the norm, it takes that fear away. Everyone's more comfortable with it. I think the more we talk about things, the more we're comfortable with it, and the more we're faced with things, again, the more we become comfortable with it. It's just making neurodiversity a normal part of a staff recruiting process. And it's really simple things that can have a really positive outcome. One really simple thing that we worked with John Lewis was looking at their interview technique. And it's quite a tough process, but we asked them if they could send out the interview questions prior to being interviewed. Because again, sitting on the other side of that previously, if you're talking to someone who's neurodivergent, if they've got those questions, they've got something exciting to say. Whereas if they haven't had those questions and they're fumbling through, it can be quite painful, like trying to draw out an example for them. And that is something they've changed in their culture, that now on request that they will basically send out the interview questions prior. And again, it's something really simple but really effective for everybody, not just somebody who's neurodivergent.
I was going to ask that question, is sometimes these reasonable adjustments, do employers then find that actually this is something everybody wanted but no one had mentioned?
Yeah, I think so. It helps everybody, doesn't it? It's anxiety, I think at some point will affect everybody. And a little bit of common sense and a little bit of changing of environments, having a quiet space for somebody to work. I think we all become overwhelmed at times by noises, and it's just having a better understanding of everybody. It's not just about people who are neurodivergent. It's absolutely everybody. We're all very different. We're all unique, and it's treating everybody in that way.
Knowing that we need to get more employers on board, large, small, medium size, what do you think are some of the things that we can all be doing, I guess as just individuals, but also as families with young people with additional needs? What can we all be doing to just get the message out there that actually we've got this amazing group of young people ready, willing and able to work?
It's being open to the opportunity and being able to give more and more examples. I think the more examples we can give, the better. And I think like now at the moment we've got quite a few businesses and we get them to talk, which is really helpful. So it's having those testimonials and having those connections between business and business and just celebrating everything that they bring in to all these businesses. I mean, we visited 2 of our cafes, you visited our retail store, and that's all being created by our trainees here. And not one person walks into our place and isn't wowed by what we do. It's celebrating the differences as opposed to being scared of them. And I think people just need to be more open to try. We've had businesses before where we've worked with them and it hasn't quite worked. It might not be in the right time of year. It might be too busy. And I will always say to people, let's just try it. And if it doesn't work, that's absolutely fine. But at least we've tried. And it's a good tick box for businesses as well. They have that side of it. If they're being diverse and the culture and everything like that, they can celebrate that. We use our social media to celebrate what we do with people, what businesses we work with. So it's just that connection and just talking is the main thing.
Without mentioning any names, there's some businesses that you look at and you think actually they've started as a tick box and then they've realised that this is a good thing for the business.
Yeah, definitely. We have had businesses in the past who have approached us, and I do believe it was because of that. They wanted to tick a box. And actually, yeah, they've thrived through it and they've absolutely loved it. And then they've recommended us to other businesses. So that definitely has been an education for them.
I think we can all start to see the momentum is building when it comes to employers recognising the value that our young people can bring to a workplace. It's just that we don't seem to have quite reached that tipping point. But I'm confident that it's just around the corner, and organisations like the SAM Project are playing a big role in getting us there. In next week's episode, which is the last of my conversations with the SAM Project team, I'm talking to Laura Hutt about job coaching, the misconceptions about what job coaching is all about, and why job coaching is such an important part of supporting both our young people and employers. I just want to say thank you for taking the time to listen, and I hope that the stories and solutions shared on here help you as you support your young person to create their future. If you know anyone who would find the ideas useful, please share the podcast with them. To support the podcast, please consider finding out more about the Independent Cooking Made Easy online course. It's a safe, simple system that works. There are links to the course in the show notes. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn at Debra Caldow. I'd love to have a conversation with you on any of the topics we all care about. Bye for now.